Welcome to episode 23 of the Ivey Wire. We have a ton to cover today. Trump's address to the nation. We're going to respond to that. The Iran war. We have helicopters flying by Kid Rock's house. An amazing mission to the moon. Maybe our first. We'll talk about that. We have our WTF segment. And when are these UFO docs going to get released? Deadline's April 13th. Welcome to the Ivey Wire. So the Trump address to the nation was interesting. Everybody that knows me personally knows I'm a leaning independent. Trump's always been an independent. People don't know that. He's an independent, went to the side of the Republicans to win the presidential election, which he did. He took over the whole party. Most of the stuff he's done, I'd say 90% of it is good. I believe in all his policies up until about a 90 percentile ratio. I think he is truly for America, 100%. I'm not in the Trump black pill area where, you know, everything's a conspiracy. He's compromised. Israel owns him, all that stuff. But this is weird. I'm not going to sugarcoat the address to the nation. I've watched Trump now, a lot of his rallies, a lot of his things he's done. I've followed Trump since the 90s. And I've seen his policy. I've watched him on Oprah. I've watched him answer the tough questions. He's always been against Iran. He's always been against the Iraq war. He's always been for no wars, you know, America first. And that's what I'm all about. America first. That's it. That's what I'm about. And the address to the nation was maybe to people that haven't seen him speak about Iran or the conflict, and it was your first time kind of taking a minute out of your busy days and just listening. Maybe it didn't affect you the way it affected me, but it seemed a little off to me. I just didn't see the same Trump that I've watched since 15, but maybe even 2010. And he's almost 80 years old. And some of the things I hear is he only sleeps like 3 hours a night. He works, he's a workaholic. He works like nonstop all the time. Health maybe is taking a toll, like just age. I mean, this guy is as tough as nails. What he's gone through in his late 70s, I mean, people my age couldn't even go through that. So toughness isn't a question. It's just something seemed a little off. And I think anybody that is a Trump voter or, you know, likes his policies or have watched him over the last 10 years is going to say, you know, something's off here. And honestly, I thought something would be off when he almost got killed in Butler. But it seemed like he got stronger at that point. But it didn't seem, there was nothing concrete that came out of that address. And the Straits is so important for the economy. Yeah, we do produce enough oil. We're good with oil, especially now with the Venezuela situation. And this is all diagrammed. We took Venezuela first, obviously, for the oil, and we know how these things are going. But the one thing he said in his address about NATO, you know, come take it, they can't take it. NATO countries are decimated. Their militaries are 50% of what they should be. But he wasn't really talking to them. You know, he wanted their help, but in my opinion, he was looking at China. China makes Iran's economy, puts pressure on Iran to open the straits, and the straits will be opened. At this point, it looks like Iran is... It's hard to even imagine what's going on in Iran because they have 90 million people. It's like 4 times the size of California. It's not like some small little country we're trying to take over. The regime change happened like, when Trump said this in other speeches, that kind of happened like so quickly they didn't realize how fast it can actually happen. Now there's like no leaders to even deal with. And there has been reports of J.D. Vance was supposed to meet with some type of leader in Iran that was trying to negotiate a peace deal, and he was killed by his wife was killed first, and he's like supposedly dead or hanging on to life by an Israeli missile. Like, nothing against Israel. I don't know all the facts of this, but like, it's just leader after leader after leader just going. And it's almost at a point, my opinion only, that Israel wants to destroy Iran, and America's trying to deal with it to kind of get out and get the straits open. So there's like a conflict going on with how this is going to play out. And in my previous episodes, I said a month, and you can totally tell Trump's trying to get the straits open and get out of there. I just don't know if that's going to happen. It doesn't look like it's that easy to do. Iran still has some sort of leadership. I don't know who they are. You're just getting strips of information about they're down to their last missile and all that, and you just don't know what they have at this point. I know their leadership is decimated. That's a fact. But we don't know who's in charge right now. I mean, Israel obviously, in reports, I'm not saying this is confirmed, but it's reports that they killed the peacemaker. I wouldn't call him a peacemaker, but negotiator for peace that J.D. Vance was supposed to meet, and he was killed, and along with his wife, or he might be hanging on to life, but he's not having the meeting with J.D. Vance either way. So it's a difficult situation, and the way Trump laid it out with that speech, it made people think that, you know, like England was going to come in and, you know, sweep in and take the straits, but that's not possible. It's going to be one of those things where it's got to be a combined effort. I think China is what he's pushing for, to put pressure on Iran. I know they're meeting. Xi Jinping and Trump is pushed out another month. And China's just kind of looking at it like, we can hang on for a little longer. Gas prices go up, Trump's poll numbers are going to go down. They know that. So they're kind of just like playing like a little game right now. So it's really China and the United States. Now, as far as NATO, I want to get into that. NATO is something that has always fascinated me because they haven't paid any of their fees until Trump got in. We were basically fronting all these countries that are part of NATO money-wise, and they weren't contributing anything to NATO. There was like one country, it was like Poland, that was doing it. Other than that, none of the other countries were giving any money. And then they let their militaries basically recede to like a 20 to 30 percentile. So now they're not even useful. I mean, obviously any military is useful, but they're not at the point where they're strong. So they really need NATO. They're not contributing to it. Now they're going against Trump, and they're not even letting the U.S. use certain military bases that we purchased, we helped fund. So you have to think about it. Why are we even in NATO? What's the point of pushing all that money in when they're not even here to help a little bit for certain things? Let us land our planes on your ships and all that, and they're not even letting that happen. So you have to start to think like, what is the point of NATO if we're the ones basically funding it? Now, in the last 3 to 6 years, countries started giving money back. I wouldn't say 3 to 6, I'd say 2016, 17, 18, 19, they started to pull back. And then the Biden administration, nothing. And then Trump came back and started getting them to pay. I mean, obviously they were probably paying during the Biden administration, but it wasn't at the same level. It's almost like a bill you're paying and there's no risk of not paying it. With Trump, there was a risk of not paying it. And right now, you're seeing NATO kind of separate itself. I really don't know why. They don't have to put troops on the ground. They don't have to, I mean, they don't really have the capabilities, most of the countries, to even help that much, but they can let us use their military infrastructure that we basically purchased through NATO because we were funding it. So that was very interesting. And then you look at Cuba, how they're kind of like arms wide open for us to come and save their country at this point. Cuba was like a place where we, you remember during the Kennedy administration, if you know history, Cuba was a major threat. Now it's kind of like walk on in. So we have like Venezuela, we have Cuba open up door for us to come in. And now we have Iran on its knees holding onto the straits, which is basically all they have. So other than the nuclear weapons, the straits is all they really have. That's their moneymaker. They can use that for pain while they're going down. It's kind of like they're drowning and grabbing whatever they get their hands on to pull into the water. And the straits is like a big thing to pull down. So they're protecting with drones and all that. They're making it really hard for people to get in there, ships to use it. And I think troops on the ground there is going to be an absolute disaster, in my opinion. I'm rooting for America. I want this to end in a month, like I predicted. We're coming close to it. Trump's a deadline guy, but just the last 2 weeks, I think some of the things he's been saying, I don't know. It's just interesting, very interesting. He's getting older. He's almost 80 years old. I really don't know what is going on with him, but it's definitely, there's a difference. But you got to remember, how would me and you, people watching, be when you get 6 hours of sleep? Like last night I played hockey. I got home at like 12:30 at night. I worked for another hour, went to bed at like 1:30, 1:45, and I was like getting up exhausted. I hear this guy sleeps 3 hours a night at 79 years old. I mean, it's got to take a toll on you. I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just seeing a difference in Trump that I haven't seen in the last 10 years. I don't think he's compromised at all. I just think there's a lot of people in his ear, all different facets in his ear. And I think this Iran conflict is more than we thought we can swallow. Militarily, we're great. What we've done is amazing. People wanted to do this for years and years, but didn't have the balls to do it. But the straits and the actual finishing of the job, some say it's the easiest part. That's the hardest part, in my opinion, because now you have to make sure Iran is not the place that's going to generate in 20 years to be the same reason we went in. Number one. Number two, we got to make sure that the straits are open, and then whoever's controlling the straits is a good version of what we want that will help us and help the other countries as well. I like that Trump is open, like, come and take it, but he wasn't talking about NATO countries. He was talking about China. That's what he was talking about without saying it. And he's supposed to meet Xi Jinping, and it got delayed. So this is the craziest time to live in. Growing up, Iran was always, my whole lifetime was a villain. and tons of people fled from Iran. If Iran wasn't the villain, nobody would have fled from Iran. Nobody would be cheering in the streets for Iran, against Iran, that left Iran. So that's not the case. It's about the job being finished. And I know Trump doesn't want troops on the ground. He's not a war guy. He's prevented 7 to 9 wars, but now he's in one of the biggest ones you can even imagine. So I'm not, a professor in war. I'm not a professor in history. I know a little bit here and there, but I also have a head on my shoulders. I know what I'm seeing. This is not in Afghanistan. It's not in Iraq. This is a really strategic mission, and it could go on a little longer than I thought. But I do give kudos to Trump for showing signs he wants to get out now. But if you don't have those straits, and there's somebody's in there controlling the straits, it could be an absolute disaster. So we'll keep following this. We'll keep updating on it. I listen to a lot of different people from the left, from the right, from the center. People then kicked out of the administration. And this is where my mind's going after listening to all of them. We'll be back with our next segment.
Right? They proclaim Pride Month and the NBA. They proclaim it. They show it to the world. They say, come join us for Pride Month, to celebrate unrighteousness. They proclaim it. They proclaim it on the billboards. They proclaim it in the streets. Unrighteousness. So how is it that one can't speak righteousness? How is it one that how are they to say that this man you want?
If you're not familiar, the Chicago Bulls let Jayden Ivey go from the video I just played that he posted on his social media. And my first off opinion is that the NBA contacted the Bulls and let them know they got to let him go. I think that truly is what happened. That's just my opinion. I think you got to respect everyone's religious faith, whether you're Muslim, Christian, Jewish, whatever it is. If you're an employer, if somebody asks for a day off because it's their religious holiday, but other people are working, of course you give them that day off. And it doesn't matter, different religions get different days off. That's cool. Totally cool. Now, the gripe I have with Jayden Ivey on this is, and I don't know for sure what went down with this, but how did he go about this situation? I'm going to give you 2 scenarios that may have happened. Number 1, he never contacted anybody about his gripes against Gay Pride Month and posted the video and called the NBA unrighteous. That was a bad move if he did that. Definitely a bad move. What I would have done in that situation, if I were Jayden Ivey, I would have went to the NBA, probably first off to the Bulls, let them know that you do not want to celebrate Gay Pride Month and I'm not going to play during the month of whatever, Gay Pride Month. I'm not going to wear any things on my jersey or anything like that. It's against my religious belief, and I have no issues with gay people in general. I don't want to celebrate it. And let the Bulls decide where his fate is. The Bulls will probably push it up to the top tier of the NBA, get their feedback, bring it back down local to the Bulls again, get back to Jayden Ivey and say, hey, we respect that. That's your religious belief. We do that if you were this religion or that religion. You don't have to wear anything on your jersey. You don't have to play in this game. You don't have to play this week or whatever. That's one ultimatum that would have happened. The second would be he did the same thing. He went to the Bulls. Bulls went to the NBA. NBA comes back down to the Bulls and says, no, he's got to play. You got to play him. Bulls going to say to him, hey, you got to play. You got to go along with what the NBA is pushing, celebrating, whatever you want to call it. We pay your contract. You got to play. Now, if that scenario happened and Jayden Ivey thought that he was so fed up with the NBA, the Bulls, and he goes and does that social media post, he knew what his fate was going to be. Now, the other thing I'm going to throw at Jayden Ivey, and I'm going to throw at all the listeners and people that are supporting him, which I do support his strength and faith in Christianity, 100%. But this isn't the first Gay Pride Month that the NBA has had. MLB has it. NHL has it. And I want to speak for football. I'm not sure what they do, but I just know I've been at games in the NHL, in the NBA, where they've celebrated this in the past. So you signed a contract with an NBA team knowing that they celebrate Gay Pride Month. And it's unrighteous. You signed the contract. Did you put in the contract? Did your lawyers, representatives put in the contract, you will not play or celebrate anything that's against your faith, Christianity? Other athletes have done that. You didn't. At least to my knowledge, maybe you did. Maybe that gives you all the right to do that video. All the scenarios I just laid out, I still think the Chicago Bulls shouldn't have let him go. But again, I don't think it was the Chicago Bulls that overall made that decision. Jayden Ivey is not like a superstar in the league. If it was somebody that was elite caliber, because again, this is all about money. This is a big business, huge business. And that's all they care about is money. Viewership and money. It's going to get to my next part of this. But wasn't in your contract. You knew you were getting into a league that celebrates Gay Pride Month and maybe other things you don't hold dear or want to participate in. I don't know if you did all those things. Maybe you did, and that was your last straw. I don't know. But I'm just breaking down all the scenarios that could have happened. Now what else I'm going to cover is this whole thing in sports. So if you're a youngster kind of growing up in this, and this wasn't around in the early 2000s, and I still to this day don't understand why somebody's sexual preference in the bedroom has anything to do with sports. Don't get it. Has zero to do with it. I'm taking a whole non-religious approach, just total neutral. What does it have to do with sports? Sports is the most unifying thing. I'm slapping heads with everybody, Democrats, Republicans, independents, transgenders, gay people. I don't care. I don't care what you are. I don't care what you do on your personal life. It doesn't matter to me. Give a shit. As long as you're a good person on the earth, you don't harm others, you're a civil citizen in society, I could care less. But we don't need to put a month in professional sports that has nothing to do with sports. We have enough of that going on. outside of sports. When you go to a game, it's like the jumbotrons. People are like mesmerized. It's like people are watching if you go to a game, you got half the crowd on their phones, half the crowd taking pictures, half the crowd watching the game in the jumbotron. The jumbotron's so freaking big, you can watch the game there. Say half the people, but so many people in the beer line just drinking like they're going to an electric chair. So much is going on outside of the game, and it's just like the stimulation level is just insane. So my opinion is this is top down. You can go with what the top is. It's definitely outside of the sporting leagues to push this or to talk about this. I don't know why. I don't know what the purpose is. I think people that are gay or transgender or black or white or half black, half white, Mexican, Hispanic, Native American, you look at these census things, it's like, what are you? It's like, I don't even know what I am. My parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents came here. My great-grandparents came here in like the late 1900s, late 1800s. Swedish, German, French, Italian. I'm so many things. I'm white. My skin pigmentation is a little darker than most whites. Maybe because I'm Sicilian. I don't know. My grandma was Sicilian. I have no idea. I haven't met a lot of black people that are black, like their color of their skin is black. I haven't met a lot of white people where their color of their skin is white, like the color. It's just a name to separate everybody, to put people in categories. And in categories are always a problem. Why do they need categories? For voting, for demographics, to divide people. Same issues. So this isn't like an anti-gay rant or anti-pro-gay rant, or it's just like we're going to a baseball game, a basketball game. I just don't think it needs to be even talked about. Let's have a straight day. I don't think we need one. I don't think it's appropriate. I like women. That's what I do in my bedroom. I'm married now, but I like my wife. That's what I do in the bedroom. What does it matter? Who cares? I'm here to watch the basketball game. I don't need to celebrate. And growing up, I grew up a lot of gays. Like principal in high school or grammar school was gay. I've had people I was close with, their family were gay, and they had a husband, and everything was great. No problems with them. Nicest people. I have no problems with any gay people I've ever met. I've no problems. But those people I met growing up, they're not jumping around dying for a gay pride day at the Bulls game. I'm just telling you, they're not. But now, the attention is like the main thing. I do get all how tough it was to be gay and all that. But the people I just described a second ago, they went through all that. Trust me. They went through the worst of the worst. They did. And I'm totally against it. Totally against it. But they went through the worst of the worst. To be gay now, I'm not gay, so I don't know exactly how to walk in someone's shoes that's gay. But it's a lot easier than it was back in the day. A lot easier. And that's a good thing that it's easier now. But I'm looking at this totally as a division thing. Let's just throw in at the NHL hockey games. There could be gay players in the NHL. I'm sure there are. There's definitely players that came out that were gay in football. I think there's been one or two in baseball that came out. Basketball, I think there's one. Maybe there used to be. I don't know. I don't care. I'm about merit. If you're great at basketball, I don't care if you're gay. Just play the game great, and people are going to want to watch. So that's my take on it. You got to get it out of sports. I think it should never have been inserted because it's based off of someone's sexual preference. To this point, it's like, what are we doing? And I'm not against the parades. Go have the parades. It's America. That's great. But the people that go to the parades get to choose to go there. The people that go to the basketball games or the baseball games or the football games or the hockey games, they're choosing to go to watch hockey, baseball, basketball, football. They're not there to watch the team wear the jerseys that has this or that on it. So that's my only take on Gay Pride Month into sports. I'm not against Gay Pride Month. I'm not against, people that have gone through struggles because they were gay. I'm not against that. I'm against it into sports. And let's call it gay singers, musicians, Elton John, some of the greatest songs ever written. First thing I think about Elton John is I think about the piano. I think about the songs he wrote, the style. I don't think about he's gay. What does Elton John do when he goes home? Who's his husband? I have no idea. I don't care. Freddie Mercury, everybody knows he was gay. What do I think about Freddie Mercury when I think about him? Queen. Guy had vocals that never were seen before, heard before. Freddie Mercury was one of the greatest frontmen, stage presence people you'll ever see. That's what I think about him. I'm thinking about, oh, he's gay. Who's he with? What does he do in the bedroom? It doesn't cross my mind right away. Eventually you go down then he was in Queen, and then what happened to him? Then he got AIDS, and then he passed away. AIDS is another thing I'd like to go down, but I'm not going to do that. Then he was gay, and then he had this. That's when you go down those things. But overall, we're talking about what somebody does in their bedroom. And I think it needs to be out of sports. We'll be back with our next segment. I'm going to cover two stories that pertain to immigration. I'm going to roll a clip for one. But the first one, I'm going to put a picture up on the screen from NBC News. They reported that 161,000 jobs were applied to by North Koreans, and 20 guys were working for companies and were caught. One was at a cybersecurity company, go figure, and they were citizens of North Korea. How they got the job working remote, I have no idea. We got to look the story up. It's by NBC News. But 161,000 jobs were applied to by these individuals in North Korea. And I guess this has been going on for about 10 years. North Korea has been infiltrating computer jobs, cyber jobs, trying to get remote workers and all of that. And it's unbelievable that this is even going on right under our eyes. We're not even seeing it, especially a cybersecurity company. Of all types of companies, you think that would be the one that would catch this. They ended up catching it after it was too late, but they caught him. I guess they set a trap up for one of the guys, and it helped catch the other 20. It's just unbelievable. Next story I want to cover, I'm going to roll a clip about tourism babies. And according to this clip, 310,000 tourism babies were born. That's like 9% of the US population that were born in a year were tourism babies. And what a tourism baby is if somebody is visiting here, they have a baby, the baby's a citizen of the United States. So these weren't accidents. The moms weren't coming here a couple of weeks out from their due date or a month out from their due date. They were here for a while. They're open borders and having babies here for citizenship. That's what it's about. But roll the clip of Fox News reporting on 310,000 tourism babies.
Temporary about birth tourism. It's booming. In 2023, over 300,000 babies were born to unauthorized or legal temporary immigrant mothers. Add that in total. It's 9% of the U.S. births in that given year. When we look at how that shakes out over time, a clear spike in the number of births to unauthorized immigrant mothers in the United States from 2019 to 2023. That's unprecedented. It's unforeseen. It's undeniable. But Chief Justice Roberts, unconvinced.
It certainly wasn't a problem in the 19th century.
No, but of course, we're in a new world now, as Justice Alito pointed out, too, where 8 billion people are one plane ride away from having a child who's a U.S. citizen.
Well, it's a new world. It's the same Constitution.
Here's the counterpoint.
310,000 babies. We know that they say 10 to 15 million people came in. They estimate it's more than 15 million. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of kids being born. But this is all purposely done. To have that many children born here is just, it's almost 10% of our total births in our country. It's insane. So we got to clean everything up. Things are getting just out of hand, out of control. And I know the judges, the Supreme Court judges, were arguing things about tourism babies, birthright citizenship, and all that. It was very interesting to listen to. It was yesterday, actually Wednesday, and it was really interesting to listen to. The lawyer that was representing, I think, the Trump policies go up against the Supreme Court judges it was like a 12-round boxing match. It's just with legal jargon. And it was interesting to watch, interesting to listen to. I don't know how the outcome turned out. It's going to be argued, I guess, for a while. But when you have 310,000 tourism babies, there's a problem. Pick any country other than the United States, and let's just say if you have a baby in a certain country other than the United States, you're automatically a citizen. 310,000 people, I shouldn't say 310,000 babies, would not be born in any of those countries. In the United States of America, through open borders, 4 years of open borders, purposely opened. This is another result of that. We'll be back with the next segment.
Ten, 9, 8, 7. RS-25 engines lit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis II now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Good roll pitch.
Roger, roll pitch.
Houston now controlling the flight of Integrity on the Artemis II mission around the moon.
Integrity, AMT high.
AMT high.
On time, passing 30.
I want to cover this amazing NASA mission. It's going to circle the moon and come back to Earth. So cool to watch. I played it for my son, seeing the rocket go up, watching all the people. It just felt so American. We're the innovators. We're the technology designers. We're it. We really are. I mean, you can call that cocky, call it whatever you want. We're number one with this stuff. All the other countries copy us. They copy our technology, and rightly so, they should. We have the best stuff around. We do. Sold out some of our stuff to other countries. That's a whole nother episode, but that happened. America was the innovator from the Industrial Revolution to space exploration. We're it. And seeing that was awesome. Now, people are going to say, don't go down this rabbit hole, and I'm not going to go completely down it. But one thing that popped in my head, and maybe it did in yours, you hear a lot of conspiracy theories that we didn't fly to the moon. We never landed on the moon. It was just all fake. I don't have any information that it was fake. But the only information I have that it was real is that they're saying it's real. So you have to just take that with a grain of salt. But the technology that we have now in 2026 compared to the 1960s is obviously at a level so far above the 60s that we can't even comprehend. And how we are doing this mission, not saying they're doing it wrong. I'm not saying anything. I'm not an astronaut, not a scientist. But it seems like if we landed on the moon in 1960s with that technology, why are we so preventative to land on the moon now? Why do we have to surface the moon and come back? Nothing against the mission, because it's the furthest we've been from the Earth since the 1960s when we landed on the moon. So, number one, why did it take this long to try a mission like this again? They landed on the moon in the 60s. We're going around the moon now. And it's going to cause debate. Did we really land on the moon in the 60s? I'm not going to say we didn't. I'm not going to say, we did. I'm just going to believe in that we did. But it definitely causes speculation with the technology we have now compared to what we had then. It makes you wonder. But I'm going to go back to the astronauts and give my hats off to them. Amazing. NASA's amazing. Space exploration's amazing. I don't know why we ever stopped it or delayed it. That's used as an argument of why we haven't gone back to the moon. And I'm no person to argue against people that are giving that, debate, that are astronauts or scientists or work for NASA. So I'm not equipped for that level of debate, but it raises my eyebrows. We stopped in the, I'd say the mid 90s. We've had some missions, but we were really going after it. And then it kind of just like slowed down. There's a funding problem and all that. But now we're back, and space exploration has just been SpaceX and all that. It's been just great. And what Elon Musk is doing with these rockets is just, I don't want to say the R word, get in trouble for that, but it's insane what he's doing with these rockets, landing them back. It's wild. And I know there's been footage of Elon Musk saying that he doesn't dispute the landing on the moon and all that. And I'm not saying the landing on the moon again is fake, but I don't think Elon Musk is going to say what he thinks. I think he's getting funded by the government, by NASA. And if I were him, I wouldn't say shit either. I would just, my mission is to get to Mars. My mission is to build these rockets. My mission is, these are his personal goals to do these things. And him saying, I'm not putting words in his mouth because he never said it, but he wasn't adamant about the moon landing. He was just kind of like, he thinks it happened. So take all that with a grain of salt. I'm not going down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole. I'm just posing the question to the viewers. We did this in the 60s with, technology that is not even close to what we have now. And it seems like a real difficult mission. I have to ask, how did we do it back in the 60s? But that's my take. But again, I give all the kudos to the astronauts. Unbelievable. I'm just looking forward to seeing more missions. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the 2027 landing on the moon. I think that'd be so cool. And then, the Mars exploration with Musk. That's just going to be something to be seen. And I hope it happens in my lifetime. I want to cover this Kid Rock controversy with the helicopter pilots, military helicopter pilots flying their helicopters with a little flyby of his rooftop pool mansion in Nashville. But back to the topic. I have no problem with this. I mean, it's Kid Rock. You know, it's didn't hurt anybody, no harm to anybody. And he's got the Statue of Liberty out there on his rooftop. I thought it was super cool. No issues with it. I'm glad Pete Hegseth removed the suspension. I get, though, there's rules with the military and doing things like that, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was good. I thought it was cool for people to see. Nothing against it. I'm glad they removed the suspension. But let's roll the clip of Kid Rock, rooftop pool with the military helicopters doing the flyby. How cool was that? I mean, I want to be in that pool party, hanging out with Kid Rock, swimming in the pool, seeing some military choppers do a flyby, the ball with the ball, the bang-a-bang playing in the background. Who would want to be at that party? Just awesome. And if anyone hasn't seen Kid Rock in concert, I saw him in Detroit. I was backstage in Texas, and it was a music festival. And he is the boss. I mean, that place was jumping. And he puts on a show that you won't believe. I mean, he's got the rap side, he's got the country side, the classic rock vibe. It's great energy. Kid Rock concerts are awesome. But the funny story about when I was backstage, the music festival was actually looking for him because he was like pulling up like right on time. And usually musicians will check in. They'll get, a tag or something that hangs like behind their back. So, people know that they're a musician. And he didn't even check in. He just obviously they were communicating right away. The stage was set, everything was ready. And he just pulled up, got out of the car, walked right on stage, and you just heard fireworks go off. And it was one of the best shows I've seen. Kid Rock puts on an amazing show. But again, nothing wrong with this. I understand with the military, there's some issues with, obviously disciplinary things. I get it. But it's great patriotism for the country. I know a lot of people got a kick out of it. So I'm glad, again, Hegseth removed the suspensions. We'll be back with our next thing. I thought this was a cool story. For years, my whole childhood and most of my adult life, if you said aliens were real, or you went out and in a party and said UFOs are real, you'd be laughed out of the room. You'd be called a quack, a goofball, a conspiracy theorist, all that. And, watching the X-Files and watching all these sci-fi shows, I always believed that there was something else out there, another life form, but you weren't able to say it out loud. And if you did, again, you were called a crazy whack job. All these people throughout the years are now vindicated. They've said that UFOs are real. They're out there. Extraterrestrial life is out there. And finally, Representative Luna and lawmakers are giving until April 13th for the U.S. government to release all of the UFO files because they were promised these. So I'm really interested to see what's in there. There's been so many stories over the years. I wonder which ones were true, which ones were just made up. People just wanting attention. But we've been waiting for this for a long time. It's like you were told you were an absolute quack for believing in it, and now it's real, and they're going to release the information. So it's just another thing that you have to ask yourself, what else are they not telling us? But I'm glad that lawmakers and Representative Luna are pushing this, because I want to see what's out there. And there's so many people that invest their entire lives in it. I've always wondered about it on the surface, but there's some people that invested their entire lives in proving this. And we owe it to them to release these files, to find out what's out there. And I understand that some of it's got to be real classified, because we probably used some of the technology that we have that people don't even know about. So I don't know how much they can release, what's classified, what's unclassified, but releasing something would be a good start. We'll be back with our next segment.
The Wily Wire segment where Brandon asks, "What the fuck is this?"
This is next level, man. This is one of the most interesting places I've ever been in. ADHD Avenue, I mean, everything about this is, I feel like I'm home. You know, dyslexics that are surrounded by, you know, these special folks, particularly the young folks there. So I'm grateful. I'm also weird. Sharon, forgive me. You know, this is embarrassing. You can turn all that off. Just because all the noise, you know, that we just need to turn off. And this. Listen to this. This is it, man. This is it. You want to fix all this stuff? This is it. Listen to these guys. You know, we're all just sitting there yelling and screaming at each other. Everybody's getting each other's throats and trying to tear everybody down. And, you know, how are we going to get out of this? This is it. You heard these guys.
We're back with our WTF segment, and that Gavin Newsom speech is unheard of. I mean, he completely lost his mind during it. Not in like a aggressive way, just like started crying and called people special and ADHD lane. I mean, I don't know what was going on with it, but it was just hard to watch. I'm not a Gavin Newsom fan by any means, and I wanted to go there and help him out and pull the plug in the microphone. It was unbearable. And again, this guy is supposed to be running for president, even though he hasn't declared he was, but everyone knows he has presidential aspirations. And this speech definitely put a big dent in it, and what I think completely closes the door for his presidential campaign or aspirations is the fraud in California. 71 autism centers were shut down by the Vance fraud team, and there's billions of dollars they're saying in fraud just in the healthcare. We haven't even got to the homeless situation, and that's what's been reported. So, but that speech was brutal. I'm also going to roll a video. We're going to talk about this Brandon Johnson. I mean, what a WTF this is. He pulls a garbage truck up, streets and sand truck, and the name of it is Abolish ICE. And I heard at some contests or people came up with a name. It was, or this has all been organized. That name was going to be the name regardless, no doubt about it. It's a slogan that's been used by sanctuary cities and paid protesting and abolish ICE, abolish ICE. You know, it's been the name that's been going around for a year now. But to pull that truck up and do that speech, just days of Gorman being killed, the poor college student minding her own business in the park with some friends gets shot while she's running away by an illegal immigrant. I mean, Does he have a PR team? Is he that stupid? Or does he really not care? So I don't know which one of those it is. I don't know if he's completely compromised and he's been told to do that. I don't know. I have no proof of any of my theories. But you look at that and you look at the timing, something's definitely off. No doubt about it. We'll be back at the wrap.
Naming contest. Keep speaking up in every way and any way that you can. I look forward to meeting with the Chicagoans who submitted the winning names, and I look forward to seeing our city's pride, our spirit, and even, yes, our humor represent us again next year. And so with that, take a moment to, I guess, take in all that you all have been waiting for. This moment is finally here. The snowplow with the most votes, most entries, abolish ICE. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching episode 23 of the Wiley Wire. Thanks for staying wired. Follow us on all platforms at the Wiley Wire. We could always use a like and a follow. We'll see you next Tuesday and Friday. Have a great weekend. Happy Easter. We'll see you next time.
The Wiley Wire dives into sports, music, politics, health, and trending topics for entertainment, info, and education. Listener discretion advised. May include mature themes, explicit language, controversial views, or sensitive content. Not suitable for under 18 or all audiences. Parents, please supervise. All opinions from hosts, guests, and contributors are personal and don't reflect our official views. Information isn't guaranteed to be accurate. Do your own research and consult qualified professionals.